Hi guys, welcome to Winsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah and I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. We are at the cottage, as you guys can see, and we actually have a hive of activity going on. Where it's the last day that I'm here, we're really trying to button up a few projects, including ones you've already seen in videos. So actually, you'll probably see in the background of this video that my sister is finishing mulching over the lilac bed that we did a lot of work on in our last video. That's happening right now. But while she's finishing that, I wanted to start another project that we wanted to share with you, where I'm going to be planting 15 of the iris rhizomes we bought from Schreiner here at the cottage. So I thought I'd set you guys up and bring you along and then show you where everything ended up and some of our reasoning for putting what where. The first thing that I did want to share, I already got one iris planted. You can see it midstream. This right here is actually Old Black Magic. So that's one of the Schreiner Iris. We also planted a whole stand over here that is iris we rescued from a different bed in a previous video when we worked on the reclaiming the backyard. These had been eaten back by deer and then taken over by grass. So we dug these rhizomes out, and it's a pretty light blue one that's been around for years. So I don't actually know if we know what name it is, but it'll be really pretty between these two. And those are the only iris we have in this bed. The first place we're going to be planting a lot of iris is actually in the coneflower area that we worked on in that same video where we rescued those blue iris. They used to be right here. And we've kind of pulled out and replanted all these purple cone seedlings. But I left 5 pockets that I'm going to be sticking iris into. So let me get those in the ground and then I'll share with you what varieties are planted where. All right, we got the first ones in this bed in a beautiful sweep, and I thought I'd tell you the varieties we planted here. Over in this corner, which I think this is one of the beds we recently reclaimed, and you'll remember these cute little black-eyed Susan flowers I got from work were looking sad, so I cut back 3 that looked like they may have died. We're going to wait and see if they come back in the spring. This one had life. I think it's dwindling, but it's there. But we did plant one over here, which is called Raven Girl. She's a beautiful black one that'll get about 39 inches tall, so I think she will kind of compete. Then I think that might round out this bed. I do think this is the perfect spot for a sedum that we might have somewhere else I need to move, so I might stick that there. We also have this really big grass here that might be moving in the spring. We haven't fully decided yet. But over here we actually did a really big drift of purple coneflowers, and we left pockets for 5 different iris. Now, these all get fairly tall. I think the shortest one of these is about 36 inches, so they will compete with the purple coneflowers, but when they're done blooming and it's just, you know, the spiky texture, that's when the purple coneflowers will come into their full bloom, which will be really pretty, and we won't miss that they kind of hide the iris a little bit more. But what we did here is we looked at when they flowered, and we have the earliest blooming ones on that end, and then we have them progress as the season progresses. So over here, this will be the first grower. This one is Merry Amigo, which gets about 38 inches tall. It's a really pretty blue one with a white edge around its ruffly falls, which I'm excited about. This one right here is Sharp Dressed Man, which is a darker one. It's got almost black falls with a purple standard, and that guy will get about 36 inches tall. This one right there is Medici Prince, which is a really beautiful wine-colored one. It'll get about 39 inches tall, and this blooms mid-season to late. So these are the late season. This is where the shift. Merry Amigo is very early. Sharp Dressed Man is early to mid. Medici Prince is mid to late. This one over here is Supreme Sultan, and this is mid-season to late. It's 39 inches tall, and it is really striking red falls and yellow standards. This one, they said, has a huge flower. I think it's supposed to get 5.5 inches wide and 7.5 inches tall. I really hope all of these takes, but that one in particular I'm interested to see. And then the last one we have in here is called Here Comes the Sun, which gets 36 inches tall and it is a bright yellow. The next area we're going to be planting is actually up where the Heritage Iris are. So first I'm actually going to thin that clump, which is something we've been meaning to do for a while. And we're going to create 3 different spots for iris up in this area, immediately by the Heritage Iris. And then I have a couple more that I'm planting in this bed as well. But first, thinning the iris so that they are a lot happier in their space, and we have space for these other 2 new ones. All right, I have finished lifting the iris and bringing this down, this Heritage Iris, to a much more manageable size. And I started planting the new iris we're putting in here, but I realized I was going to have to take the tags off, so I thought I would walk you through the varieties before I plant them. So I actually got one already in, so let me show you that one first. So right here in this back corner is Overjoyed. It's a really pretty light and yellow bicolored one that grows about 35 inches tall. If we scoot over here, this one is Smith Rock. Right here, it'll be here in a second. And that will get about 34 inches tall and is a really pretty pink and peachy apricot one. We're adding one more over here, which is called I Pink I Can. It's a shorter variety. It only gets about 28 inches tall. There's a beautiful pink flower. And then we are going to be tucking one more back here, which is going to be called World Premiere, which will get 37 inches tall. And I think it will like that spot as well. I brought the Heritage Iris in to probably a 4 foot by 3 foot clump. I probably should have moved this a lot sooner, but it is what it is right now. So, loving how that looks, and let's get these guys in the soil. You know what, I actually have 3 Heuchera that I was going to stick in this place too, so I'm going to fudge the lines a little bit and get them planted at the same time, so then afterwards we can just mulch everything beautifully. These are the Heuchera called Marmalade. They're so beautiful. They've got this really pretty purpley undertone and a lot of different colors up top that I think will provide such a beautiful little pop right there. So these guys get 10 inches tall and 12 to 18 inches wide. So I'm going to give them a little swath around the base of the red bud, but they're not going to impair our view too much. I think it'll just be a nice little thing to break up that dark green we have right there. I'm going to go get my auger, get those in the ground, then I'll finish planting those last 2 iris. I'm thinking this means that the iris over there is going to edge forward just a little bit, but not too much. Okay, those guys are all in. I've made a bit of a mess here, but I thought I'd give you a closer look and some more details on the Heuchera. I had 3 of them, and I added 2 on this side and 1 right over there. So these Heuchera, also known as coral bells, this is marmalade. It is a zone 4 through 9. As I think I said earlier, it gets about 10 inches tall and 12 to 18 inches wide. So I'd say it might get bigger. It's probably going to get a tiny bit taller. Actually, I don't know. I think it's probably, with its bloom stalks already at its max height, it just might thicken out a little bit. It might not, because I think it's already about what could be standard. Grow mostly for their foliage because they provide such an interesting contrast and a different texture. With their uber ruffly leaves, you can see this one is catching light really well. So you can see this guy. I did also pop over the I think I can just a little bit. It's not right there. You can see as you kind of walk through that they catch your eye in a really pleasing way. And even if you're walking down the path, you can see this one peeking a little bit as well. So it just provides another texture, which is pretty. This might get hidden a little bit as the I think I can grows more, but I think it'll be pleasing to see. So all those guys are done. I need to actually get some keep away stuff to sprinkle around them, because with all the irises, I'm putting some land and seed compost and a tiny bit of biotone starter fertilizer in with them. So there's that last guy right there. He's right next to the phlox, and the phlox wants to act as like a ground cover in that area. Sounds good to me. I have a friend's mom who's going to take these, but I did a whole bag full, and then there was still a lot more, so we're going to see if any of our neighbors want any. Anyway, the next spot we are going is right over here. I actually have another Heuchera to plant in this area as well, so I'll pop that in while I'm in this space. Let me walk you through what's getting planted where. We're going to clear a little spot right here, and that is going to be one called Tempting Fate, which grows 34 inches tall. There's a really pretty dark blue and light blue bicolored one. And we're gonna actually stick 2 in this area. The one on the point up there is called Wonders Never Cease, and that's that white and cream one that gets 40 inches tall. And then right here at the base of the serviceberry, we are going to do Harvest of Memories, which is a bright yellow one that'll get 38 inches tall. This will be really pretty to add just some iris in here. I'm also going to pop this Heuchera in while I'm at it. So let's get those in the ground. This Heuchera is in the ground. I did disturb some bulbs, unfortunately. We'll get them planted when we plant bulbs later and see if they make it. But this is called Caramel, and it grows 12 to 18 inches tall and 18 to 24 inches wide. It's a zone 4 through 9, and it's got some really beautiful orangey chartreuse accents with a hint of like apricot underneath. So I think it goes shade to part shade, which it looks pretty sunny right now, but all it'll ever really get is filtered light. So this is the most it'll get for a couple hours, and then it'll be deep shade. It's actually right next to Lily of the Valley, if that tells you anything. So glad to get him in the ground for a nice little accent. And we got these guys in. As I said earlier, I do need to spray them with the Repelsol to keep any rodents away. I don't know if I think I forgot to move the camera as I made my way over here, but these are also in as well. Stay away, chipmunkies. I don't know if they would disturb these. Granular would be better, but this is what I happen to have. So we're just gonna kind of soak the area. Since I'm apparently planting Heuchera in this video, I remembered I have one more that I wanted to get in the ground that I thought I'd quick pop you up to see. We are actually in the front side of the house right now, and I'm going to be planting this beauty right here. Actually a little bit closer, but in general. Okay, this beauty is called Berry Smoothie. Isn't it just so pretty? I love that it's got some like greeny silver, but also this really rich purple. It's looking a little rough. We got this on a clearance sale, but now that it's in the ground, it'll be a lot happier. It grows 18 inches tall and about 20 inches wide. So I think it'll add a little something to this corner with the blue of the spruce and the green of the hosta and still be in ferns. It'll just kind of pop and be an added point of interest as you walk on down the way. I still have 6 more of my Schreiner irises, 5 of which are going to my house, 1 of which is actually going to be here, but the place where it's going isn't ready, so I'm going to stick it in a pot before I go home so it has some time to put out roots and doesn't get too dry. But I'm going to go spray the rest of the ones I planted today. I hope this was of interest to you guys. I know I'm excited to see these iris and have them in my home. I hope they survive the winter. Today's like September 6th, so they have a good long time to root in deeply before the first hard frost comes. So I think they should do well, and hopefully they like the spots we put them in. Hi guys, Future Hannah here. I just wanted to quick throw in a clip from a couple of days after I filmed that last one where I'm back in the city and I'm finally planting the 5 iris from Schreiner's that are going into the city yard. So I'm going to quick get those in the ground, show you guys where they ended up so we can follow them in the years to come. All right, the 2 that are going in the backyard are planted. We walk over this way. The first one is actually right here in this like rock bed. This one is actually called Honeycomb. It's a really pretty yellow in multiple different colors. I watered everything in really well, but you might have seen me sprinkle something. That was just a Repelzol to keep the dogs and any critters away. It doesn't work strictly on dogs, but it's mostly for chipmunks and rabbits and things, though I'm sure it'll deter the dogs a little bit. The other one is over there. This guy right here is Main Street, and it'll get about 37 inches tall. So I think backed up, it'll provide like a really spiky beauty point there. And a lot of these things like that dahlia I dig up and it might not end up right back in the same place. So I think that'll be a really pretty spot for iris. Let's move to the front yard and I'll get those planted real quick and show you what varieties are there. The 3 in the front end. This one is right near my property line, and it is called LaRue Boswell. It'll get 36 inches tall. There's a really pretty light pink that I think will look so beautiful there. I also planted one right over here, which this one is called Rockstar. It gets about 30 inches tall and is like a really pretty stripy pink color that I think will also look gorgeous there. I'm not sure if it'll be flowering the same time as the peony. I'd like that, I think. And then the final one I planted up front, I actually didn't hit record. I set everything up and didn't tape it, but it's right here. This one is called Obsessed, and it's a dark maroony wine colored one that I love. And it will get about 34 inches tall. So I think it'll provide a little pop right there. And it's kind of fun that there's one on this side of the boxwood and one on that side of that boxwood. So I did put these little wire cloches over them. I planted some iris previously that got eaten, so I used how I watered and sprinkle my Repelzol, and then I've also added this cage that I'll remember to take off in the spring. Okay, and that really is it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you liked it. Please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you did. And tell me which iris is your favorite. I can't wait to see them all with you next year. And I'm really glad that you joined me today to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.